Tonight's class is going to be interesting. The reason basically because I set the tone last week in looking at the life of Joseph and the way we handle relationship, as to the wisdom that you can glean from the way he tested his brothers when he was in a position of power. So again, let me reiterate that oftentimes when we are in a position of weakness, we do not have control or power to determine sometimes what people do or how they do it. And sometimes they make us that makes us victims. Joseph's brothers were older. In fact, some of them had already gotten to the point where they were getting married and raising families before it was sold. And when it was sold to slavery, they had forgotten all about him. The first thing I'd like us to know is that the circumstances that people throw at us change us. It's always a dangerous thing for you to allow maybe a heartbreak or a betrayal in the family to change you. Some of us, somebody will break our heart, or maybe a brother or sister would hurt us, or a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or even our parents, they would do something to us when we're quite young, and that thing will change us. Even we ourselves will say that I used to be free, I used to be very loving until this thing happened, and then I'm not careful. I don't trust anybody again. I'm afraid of getting hurt. I'm afraid of the pain. I don't want anybody to drag me into a painful reality. I don't want anybody to come and lie to me. I used to be so believing and trusting, and then that guy came and everything he said was a lie. He was just a liar. I don't want anybody to treat me like that anymore. I don't know. How do I test the waters? How do I know if this person is sincere? How do I know if this time around this person is being forward, is being straightforward? Because there are people that will go to great lengths to lie, to warm themselves into our lives, to make us fall in love with them, to gain our trust. And then that person would end up doing the exact opposite of everything we expected, or being the exact opposite of what we expected. And we deal with these situations every day, at our place of work, in life, in ministry. There is nowhere where people are not there. I like you to first note something that everyone who can betray you, I like you to first note one of their characteristics. It is only the weak that peddles betrayal. Let me say that again. Weak people. When you are working in a place or you have a family member who you know has is not sufficient in himself or herself, wants external validation, is not willing to work to make money, is always looking at somebody else's pocket. I'm trying to show you characteristics of those who can betray you so that you can be careful. When you work in an organization and you see that there is somebody in that organization that, even though the person may not know the job, but their primary assignment is to be reporting everybody to the boss, is to be acting as the spy, just know that that's somebody you don't get close to ever in your life. He or she will throw you under the bus at any minute, because he or she is not there to work there in order to prove himself that he's worthy of the job. He or she is there ingratiating himself to the boss in order to keep his job. So anything the boss asks him, he will tell, even if he doesn't have to. And if he has to lie, he will lie. Don't forget what I just said. So if you notice anybody around you who, he may have ICANN, he may have all the degrees, if you can see that person is not competent, I've seen people with strings of degrees, FCA, QCA, ACCA, but are basically useless on the job. When I was working, I had them as staff members, and I know that the only thing that kept them at their work was the fact that they were giving their principals information They were acting as the ears and noses of their principal. They are not competent in any way. And so when you see anybody like that in organization, know that that person can throw you under the bus. In family too, if you meet anybody, even in a relationship, if you see a relationship where the person is constantly insecure, somebody that is always talking about you are spying on me, your family does not appreciate me, and the person is not confident enough to see himself as God has made him and believe that you love him for what he is. Person is constantly talking about how his family is not as good as your own, how you can leave him tomorrow and move somebody else, how every other person is a threat. So if you greet a friend, it's a problem. You greet a female friend, it's a problem. If you go somewhere, you spend more than 5 minutes, it's a problem. If you say you are coming at 5, you arrive at 5:05, it's a problem. When you notice string of insecure languages, all those red flags, just know that, see, when push comes to shove, this person is not going to stay with you. That's the truth. And so you must pay attention to these things. I've always been an advocate of people building themselves and dealing with their baggages before going into relationships with others. Somebody like Judas, you will see the consistency of his behavior and that of Joseph's brothers. Judas was threatened by the person of Jesus. And basically, it was because he never really believed that Jesus was the Son of God. I want you to get that. You see, there are people around you. There are people around me, as my name is Benga. I have people around me who believe that, oh, this guy is a Christian, born again, and all that. I want to also believe 100% that there are some people, they are not really around me, but they are in the fringes. They used to know me years back, who, if I make the mistake of bringing them into my cycle now, it's like I'm just going to kill myself. I'm basically inviting them to come and kill me. Like, if I want to commit suicide now, I have some people that are always texting me, we know you in secondary school days, so we know you, and I know that in their head, they do not see me as I am now. They continue to see me as I used to be. And so if I bring any of them close, one of them wrote to me recently and said, I'd like to come and work for you. Can I be your PA? I'm really struggling financially. Can I be your PA? I can even be washing your car. Anything you want me to do, please help me. And people around me said, give your friend the job, help him. And I said, you guys just don't understand. Employ this one, and in 1 year I'm dead. It is either he sets me up for somebody to kill me, or he finds a way to rob me blind and run away with everything that he can lay his hands on. You have already known because of the antecedents. You should be able to read in between the lines and know that, hey, no. This will not be a very wise move. So that said, if, however, such a thing has happened, the person has betrayed you, he had left you, or he has cheated you, taken away money, he had lied, he had connived with the enemy. Thank God for sparing your life. You had been a victim. And now the person wants to come back. Husband, I remember a case of a husband, a pastor, that left with another lady for almost 7 years. And then on Numa, when we had the intercessory group, when we started on Telegram with the intercessory group, a prophecy came forth. And then God brought the family together again. And I had to call the lady after the husband came back home. 7 years she had been coping with 3 children. And then one day the husband came back begging for reconciliation. Then I had to call the lady and ask her, tell me the truth. How are you coping? She said every time his phone rings, she's afraid that he will just receive a call, he will leave and he will not come back. That if he steps out of the house, she will hold her breath until he comes back. For the first 6 months, after they reconciled, 7 years apart, this woman constantly lived in the fear that this man has not come to stay. That because if it was so easy for him to walk away the first time, it would be so easy for him to walk away again the second time. It wasn't as if he has still changed or anything has changed. She still was still working. She's still working. Both of them are still trying to get to know each other. It wasn't as if they formed a bond. And so she will say, if he receives a call and he says, I'm coming, and he goes out, she will hold her breath until she hears him knock and comes back home. She wasn't confident that he would come back, that she lived constantly in that fear, even after he came back for weeks. And I noticed that in place of prayer. That's why I called her. So I told her what to do. I said, you have to test. Instead of dying and waiting, like you have ceded all your power to him now. So, and no man also likes that. Do you guys know that if, for example, you are seeing somebody and the person cheats on you, and then the person comes back, you know that after some time, the person will become, if you are so suspicious and you are behaving somehow, the person will be like, see, if you cannot forgive this thing and forget, this is not how a relationship is supposed to be. I know I messed up. And I know I did something wrong and I left you. Now I'm back. Now that I'm back, you should take me as I am. Stop all this fear. I go out and you are afraid I will not come back. Even the person will be unsettled. And so the relationship will not be able to go the way it's supposed to go. So I said, test it. She said, oh, how do you want me to test it? I said, oh, pray about it. Ask the Holy Spirit what to do. But let's test it. You have the right to look at this and say, let me test this relationship. So I said, test it. And then she said, okay, she will test it. So a week after I spoke with her, one day he went out. Then she put the children in the car, and then she went somewhere. She didn't tell him where she was going. And when he got home, he didn't see her. He called. She picked. He asked her where she was. She said she just needed some time to figure some things out, that she's hoping that he would stay until they arrive over the weekend. And he said, okay, it's fine. And so she went. She didn't tell him where she was. She went with the children to her parents' house, but she didn't tell him it was her parents' house. Spent the whole weekend there. He continued to call. He wasn't calling as one that is panicking, or that he didn't threaten. He didn't try to turn it to a fight. He was patient. And it wasn't as if she has all the money now and is broke, so nobody can say, okay, because he didn't have money, that's why. So all those things were well positioned in such a way that if he actually had an agenda, he could just pick his shirt and leave again. And after the weekend, she came back. He didn't fight. And she told him, he said he understood. Of course, he had come to realize that he was wrong and that he had hurt her, and she was taking time to adjust. And after that, she settled. When she called me, she said, thank you so much. I said, he said, when he said I should test it, I thought, if I don't want to push him out. So if I did that, he may now pick his shirt and leave again. And I said, well, if he left again, that means I'd always wanted to leave. But if he's back, it's good to put love to test, at least to test the boundaries and see if the person is reliable. Because you'll be living in the same house with this person, sharing the same bed, having sex with him. And over time, you are going to learn to trust him again. You are going to learn to call him the father of your children. And then if he takes his bag and he leaves again, do you know how you would have been better off if he didn't come back at all? So now that he's back and he's saying it's for real, then you have the right to test it. So testing the boundaries of such relationship is allowed. If somebody had broken your heart and the person wants back, and the person is saying, I won't do it again, I'm sorry, I won't put my mommy ahead of you again, I won't insult you before my family again, and all those excuses that the person may give. If you are willing, and oftentimes many of us, the love does not hear love is crazy sometimes. Common sense does not. I remember a lady that I met so many years ago. We were friends. She was in OAU at the time. I was in Boy University, my final year. I was thinking that I was coming out of a heartbreak, and I was thinking, okay, let me just do better and marry a lawyer. And I remember that she was dating another guy. The guy had gone for NYSC, but she didn't tell me. So because she was dating another guy, we would talk, She had time to talk to me, but then I realized that the talking couldn't escalate, couldn't move beyond maybe friendship. I wanted the relationship. She kept saying, "Oh, I love you, but you have to give me some time." I kept waiting. I never suspected that she was in another relationship, and she was just playing it safe. She was thinking, this guy that has gone for service, maybe the guy will not come back. So if the guy does not come back, she has somebody else that she can go with. See, I'm not blaming her in any way. I understand that thinking. So she was playing. She was really in a relationship with that guy. That's a guy. But then she met me and we became friends and we were talking. And I wasn't in any relationship. And I wanted the relationship at the time. And she kept like uh playing me along, just hoping that or waiting that the other guy would just say, I'm no longer interested. And when the guy leaves, then she can resort to me. Or so after 1 year of doing that, now I remember I was graduating from the university and then she came to my school and I just felt like, what am I doing? Like, this girl has wasted 1 year of my life. I could have met somebody else in this 1 year. And I really wanted to graduate and get married within a year or two, which I did after. I really wanted to get married before I was 30 or at 30. And I was close to 30 at the time. And I was thinking in my head, why am I still with this person? Because every time she sees that I wasn't calling anymore, she will intensify the calls. Then she will introduce some new vocabularies. Then she will send these messages, all these messages that are singing, and then I'll think maybe there is hope here. So eventually, I said, what am I doing? Like, so she came for my graduation party in the university. We were walking towards my school gate. Then I told her, I said, okay, what are we doing? Because I don't understand. I've spent a year of my life, and I could now, I now at that time I knew that she was seeing somebody else. That there was another guy. It's just that the guy is far away, maybe somewhere in the north. So that's why she had the room to be friends with me. So I said, what are we doing? And then she said, oh, she's still praying. I said, oh, Mom, you are not praying anymore. You are not praying anymore. Once we get to that school gate, if we don't say we are going to be together, that's the end of the relationship. She didn't believe it. Like, we are walking towards my school gate. And I said, I'm giving you a year. I can only give you the next few minutes. Once we get to that gate, if I don't hear a resounding, yes, I want to be with you, I'll wave you goodbye. And that's the end of it. And she started smiling. She thought it was a joke. And when we got to the gate, I waved her goodbye. She got in the bus. She went to her school. And I took out my SIM card. I broke it. I bought another one. And I forgot about her. And it wasn't as if it wasn't a little bit painful, but I didn't care. So a few days later, she came back to my school to see me. And when she came, that's a week to her exams, she came and she said, she wanted to see me. She wanted to be sure I meant it. I said, I meant it too. Seriously. And you failed the test. You see, you failed that test. there is no carryover, there is no makeover. I don't want to be with you. You are quite dishonest. You are with somebody, but you are not sure if the person would ask you to marry him or not. That's why you are why would you do that? And you are wasting my own time. And she was like, how did I know she was with somebody? I said, your younger sister. So she had a younger sister. And the younger sister is quite straightforward. So if the younger sister saw me, the way she greeted me, I knew that if you don't know another guy with your sister, you wouldn't greet me that way. Yeah. Some of us will understand that. So the younger sister was also in UAU. She was studying, I think, medicine. So she met me and her sister. And I could read her body language that she didn't approve of what her sister was doing. She didn't say anything to me, but I could read it that something is wrong here. And by that time, in fact, I've gone to UAU several times. We've done one dinner at one golf course in Oshogbo or wherever. We've done a lot of things. But then when I saw the younger sister and I saw the way the younger sister looked at her when she introduced me to the younger sister, and she said, oh, this is so and so from Boeing West. And the younger sister realized, oh, this is the guy. The way the body language, I realized, oh my God, this younger sister knew somebody else with her sister, and she didn't approve of what her sister is doing. This is why the younger sister wasn't very open to me. She wasn't close to, but some of you will understand how that kind of behavior will be like, I don't want to get involved in this kind of thing. No. So I was able to read that, and it made me realize, oh, there's something here. So paying attention. This was what Joseph did here. He wanted to pay attention to the body language of his brothers, to their behavior, to their reaction. Every time he would make an extreme move, he wants to see if they will counter that extreme move with extreme kindness, or if they will counter that extreme move with an I don't care attitude. All he wanted to see was whether they were still the same old set of people, or if they are changed. Every one of us will have a right to this. If somebody has hurt you terribly, or even if it's at work, if you are working with a boss and the boss used to be abusive and you resign, and then the same boss writes to you saying, come back, I will change. When you get back to that office, you already know this man is abusive. You have to be sure that this time around it will not continue. Otherwise, what did you go back for? So those are the things, the parameters. This person is abusive, this person is domineering, this person is possessive, this person is a workaholic, this person is a slave driver. You already know all the antecedents. So when the person says, come back, we are changing our policy, I will no longer work directly with you, I'm going to get somebody else, I'm sorry for stressing you, you are invaluable to the organization, and you go back, you have every right to pay attention this time and not just jump into it, because human nature really change. The lady I was talking about married that guy, married the guy she really wanted, she was with originally. And I'm happy for them. Thank God. I'm happily married too. And God has blessed me. And God has blessed her too. But eventually, when we eventually, 2 or 3 years or 4 years later, when we would talk, when one of their children had serious issues and she had to call me for prayers, and I had to attend to them and all that. And thank God the boy was healed. She now said she was sorry that at that time she wasn't sure of her standing and she didn't want to end up not being careful. So I like I said, I understand that. But then somebody like that already know that person already is not willing to be alone, and so already didn't mind stringing somebody else along and breaking their hearts 5 minutes later, which isn't fair. But it's fine. But once you know that people have that kind of character, then you have to safeguard yourself. You have to be deliberate about it. I've seen somebody that was in a relationship, really didn't work out, and they went back to the same relationship, and the same thing happened to him again twice. That would be very unwise, like foolish, because you must test it. If somebody is with you for the money, and you are suspecting that every time I talk to this person, it's always money. Next thing, money. Withhold money. See if the person would care, if the person would want to be with you without money. Every time, what do you need? Take. Because a day may come, you may not really have. Doesn't mean you are going to be poor, but there are seasons in a man's life when you are doing other things. You may start building a house, for example, and all your resources are going into that house. And this particular person is a take money relationship. So when that time you say I'm building, person, I don't care. Every time I ask you for money, you say you are building. This person doesn't care about your future. It's just their immediate gratification. That's the sign to say bye, walk away. Because you are not here for me. You are only here for what you can get out of my pocket. So walk away. And so on and so forth. So testing the limit of our relationships, testing the waters when it comes to relationships with people and family members too. Sometimes we have family members that are crazy. I remember a man that came to the fellowship and told me, his family members, he was a banker, was an IT person, and was working as a big-time banker. All his family members, they connived to be collecting money from him. So they will come, they will say, we saw one vision. In our church, you are going to die. And then this one will collect 200,000 this week. This one will come back. And all of them were doing it in concert. And they were family members, his own siblings. And so this guy met me. And by the time he met me, he was almost blind. High blood pressure, a lot of problems. And at that time, we didn't have so much money anymore. And the people still kept coming. So I prayed with him. I told him, all the visions they are giving you is a lie. Stop giving them anything. You are not full of the Holy Spirit. Jesus has set you free. From today, no, give no prophet or anybody your money anymore. Nothing, because I know they were just lying to him. And he had been falling for him. In fact, one of them bought him a piece of land, told him that he had to, this government helicopter, police helicopter will be coming to the land to inspect it once a week. So every week he pays the guy 50,000 for police helicopter inspection. I don't know. He said because the land grabbers wanted to grab the land and he was paying. I said, that's a lie. So I told him, you should not pay anybody anymore. Whatever you have, take care of your family, bone these arrangements. And so eventually he stopped paying them. Of course, he realized at that point that they've been lying to him for many years. He got hurt and they stopped talking to him. But they needed him because most of them didn't do well and he has done so well. So when they were going to come back, he had to do a family meeting. I told him to forgive all of them, to let them know that this approach is how does this look to you? Like, you're my siblings, and all of you will take turns trying to make a fool of me because I was busy at work, because my wife was sick. You guys continue to come like leeches. How is this how siblings are supposed to relate? And so he had a frank talk with his family members. And after that, I told him they will now think because you're on good terms that they can now come back. Make sure your no is no. Those who really love you will come back and be with you on that term. Those who don't love you at all, once they see that there's no more money coming from you, they will go away. Then you will know if they really love you for yourself or they are just there to take money from your pocket. So there's nothing wrong in testing relationships, especially after there have been failings, especially after there have been heartbreak or betrayal. There's nothing wrong in testing, paying attention, observing, looking at body language, the manner of speech, their reaction, paying attention. There's nothing wrong with it. It was what Joseph did. And the reason he did it was simple. He wanted to know if his brothers had changed or if they still had the same evil tendencies that led to them selling him off. This time around, the subject was his younger brother Benjamin, and his brothers conducted themselves excellently well. Judah fought for Benjamin. The other brothers fought for Benjamin. They tore their clothes, they cried. He saw genuine love. He saw that they are no longer as selfish as they used to be, that they are now putting the interest of their father ahead of their own interest. They're also putting the interest of their brother ahead of their own interest. He saw the emotional connect, that they are willing to come together, to have solidarity, to consolidate their effort and protect their brothers. He saw that. And those are the things that they will not say it to you. You have to observe it. Like I said, when you are testing people who had betrayed you or who had hurt you, it is not a question of tell me you love me. No, please. That's not it. You must pay attention. You must now open your eyes and see and watch the nuances, the body language. Is there still some hidden coding? Is there still some whispers? Is he open now or is he still closed? Is she still with some old friends that are of no good to relationship? All those things you will look at. If he has all the friends that he used to have, if he's still doing all the things he used to do, then what is the point? There's no point coming together. Just tell the person to get out. It's true. I know a married man and a married woman, both of them separated. When they wanted to come back together, the woman said, I can't take him back. I said, he's still the same old person, which is true. The guy is still carrying girls up and down. So the woman said, what's the point of going back into a marriage where I'll be crying all the time? Let's both remain single. Both of them are single till today. They didn't marry anybody else, and the guy still continues the soul lifestyle, and the woman is a Christian, and both of them happily take care of their children like that. The woman says she can't go back unless the man has changed, and the man has refused to change. And the woman had that peace. That's better than for her to go back into the house and now girlfriends should start calling her again, insult upon insult. So she opened her eyes, she tested, and she realized that the man failed the test, and she felt like, no, there's no need for reconciliation. This man is still it's still street as it used to be, and I cannot cope with it. So you must, in the process of adapting and growing, test your relationships, especially when you know there is a serious breach. There used to be a serious breach and are trying to rebuild. You must test that foundation very well. Be sure that you are comfortable with it before proceeding to the next level. Otherwise, you may end up being made a fool of twice. And remember what they used to say, Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I believe that the Bible study has been beneficial to all of us tonight. If you are blessed by the studies, I'd like you to shout glory.